All right, this is an introduction to presentations. Most of you will probably be using PowerPoint. That's the traditional presentation software, but there are other programs you can use. These type of things will apply if you're using Google presentations, or if you're using the Apple Keynote. You can do the same type of things. This is just basically an introduction to the concept of presentation software. Now, the purpose of presentations is to share information. Okay, you're using, I mean, that's pretty obvious, but you're using it to share it with people. It might be with a large group, it could be with a small group, it could be independently, but the idea is that you have information that you're going to share with an audience. And it adds a visual element to your presentation. When you're talking with somebody, the only way they're learning is by listening. And some people can listen real well and can learn very well by listening, but other people, it's harder to do that. And for all of us, it tends to help if there's something besides just listening. And so a presentation program enables you to add some type of visual element to your talk. It could be just slides that show the text that you're saying. It can be pictures, it can be other types of graphics, but it's something that adds visual elements to what you're talking about, and that can help people remember what you say better. Now, there's several elements of presentations and of most presentation software. Okay, so let me go over some of the basics. We have slides. Over here, there are two slides. Okay, you can add slides, but a slide is, that's what we call each of these individual items here. There are two slides in this one. Then you have things like a heading. On an individual slide, you might have a heading here, which would be your first main idea. And then under that heading, you have several points that apply to that heading. Okay, so here's your first point, you have your second point, you have your third point. Okay, so this helps you organize what you're going to say. Okay, and then also you can have slides that have graphics. So if we take this presentation, we add a new slide to it, and you can add graphics here. There are different ways in PowerPoint. You can add a media clip, you can add pictures, you can add graphs. There are all kinds of things you can add to it that might be more than just text. Okay, and we'll be getting later into some design and how to make effective presentations, but for now we're just looking at some of the basic elements. Now, you generally have different templates or styles, because just looking at a blank white screen with black text like this, okay, if you have your title, you have this, that isn't very interesting. Okay, so if instead of doing that, you can have different styles, and Microsoft PowerPoint has a lot of styles, Keynote has a lot of styles, so there are different things that you can make it look like. Now, you want to think about your audience. For example, here is a style that would be appropriate for younger groups. Okay, so that you have the bright colors, you have simple graphics, you have things like this. Okay, this would be good for younger groups, or if you're giving a presentation that's a very informal, lighthearted type of thing. Okay, that's for elementary. There might be a time when you're giving a presentation, though, where you want it to be very subtle and you want it to be classy. So you could have a presentation that looks like this. Okay, here's a different style. It's black, it's just got some very subtle colors and very simple text, but this is going to look more classy than the bright, bold one. Okay, this might be something that you use for a formal business presentation. You might also have, there might be a time when you want something to be really fancy. So you can have, there are things that look like this. Okay, you see all the scroll work, you see all the illustrations. This just kind of makes it look fancy, but you need to think, okay, is this what the audience is going, is this going to be appropriate for the audience I'm giving it to? So those are the types of styles you can have. Okay, so just to review then, okay, remember we talked about the types of slides, the elements of the presentation. You have a title slide. Let me go back to this subtle one here. Okay, here's a title slide. This comes at the beginning. It gives your overall title. Okay, you can use this at different times in the presentation if it's appropriate, but generally you start off with something like this. You have content slides that are going to look like this. Okay, here's where you start talking about the main content that you're going to have. And as I said, you could have a slide that is graphics. Okay, so that you insert media, you can insert clip art, you can insert different things there so that it's primarily a picture. So those are the main types of slides that you're going to have. So that's just an introduction to the idea of presentation software and gives you an overview of what you're going to be doing.